I never believed in the kind of betrayal that could shatter everything I thought I knew about my wife, Sarah. We had been together for 5 years, engaged for the last two, planning our wedding. I thought we were solid, really I did. She was the girl I met in college, smart, funny, ambitious. We had our ups and downs like any couple, but I always believed we were on the right path. That was until about a year ago. Things started to feel off. At first, I didn't notice much, just little things. She was a little more distant, more irritable when I tried to talk about the future. She'd brush it off, say she was stressed at work or just tired. Honestly, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. She was under a lot of pressure, and I thought maybe I was just overthinking. But then she started changing her phone habits. She'd lock it more often, hide it when she thought I wasn't looking, and sometimes even leave the room if I came near. I didn't think much of it until I saw her texting late at night, her phone screen bright in the dark. I'd catch glimpses of messages that didn't make sense, flirty emojis, quick replies that seemed too casual for someone married. I asked her about it once and she snapped at me, said I was paranoid and jealous. That was the first real argument we had about it. She told me I was overreacting, that she loved me but was just friends with some colleagues. I wanted to believe her. I really did. Then came the signs I couldn't ignore anymore. She started canceling plans with me last minute, saying she had to work late or she was feeling sick. When I pressed her, she'd get defensive, say I was suffocating her, that I didn't trust her. But I wasn't crazy. I knew something was wrong. I felt it in my gut, that gnawing suspicion that she was hiding something. And honestly, it was eating me up inside. I didn't want to admit it, but I was starting to feel like I was losing her even before I knew what I'd find. One night I stayed up late, scrolling through her messages on her phone when she was finally asleep. I know, trusting my instincts, snooping like that, it's not exactly noble. But I needed to know the truth. And what I saw, what I read, hit me like a punch to the stomach. She was talking to someone named Jake, her coworker, and the messages weren't just friendly banter. It was more. They were talking about meeting up, missing each other, and exchanging flirtatious pics. The last message, "Can't wait to see you tonight," sent just a few hours before she told me she was working late. That's when everything changed for me. I sat there staring at the screen, my heart pounding so hard I thought it would burst out of my chest. All the doubts, the nagging feeling that I'd been fooling myself for months, suddenly crystallized into cold, hard reality. My wife, Sarah, had been cheating on me. With Jake. His name kept echoing in my head, a cruel reminder of the betrayal I'd uncovered. I couldn't believe it at first. I kept rereading those messages, hoping maybe I'd misinterpreted something, that it was all just some kind of sick joke. But no, the words were clear, and the tone was unmistakably flirtatious, even intimate. I felt like I'd been hit by a train. My stomach twisted and a wave of anger and sadness washed over me in equal measure. How could she do this? After all we'd been through, after all the plans we'd made, she was out there, sneaking around, lying to my face. I started to tremble. I wanted to scream, to throw her phone across the room, but I knew I had to keep it together. I had to confront her. I had to hear her explain herself, or at least try to. The next morning, I woke up feeling hollow. I knew I couldn't keep pretending I was okay. I had to confront her face to face. I waited until she woke up, then calmly told her I needed to talk. Her eyes narrowed a bit, that bitchy smirk curling on her lips. She said, "What's this about? Are you finally accusing me of something? You're paranoid as usual." I slammed my hand on the table, voice trembling but firm. "Don't lie to me, Sarah. I know about Jake. I saw the messages. You've been cheating on me, haven't you?" Her face twisted, a mixture of shock, annoyance, and that irritating smirk. "Oh, please, you're overreacting. It's just sex, that's all. Nothing serious. He's just a friend and I was just talking. You're so insecure, I swear." She looked genuinely angry, like I was the one in the wrong, but I wasn't buying it anymore. The evidence was too clear and her reaction only made it worse. She damn well knew she'd been caught. The confrontation spiraled from there. She yelled, calling me crazy for invading her privacy, claiming Jake was just a good friend, and that I was jealous because I didn't trust her. But I saw through her lies. I saw her face, her mask slipping, and I knew she'd been lying the entire time. I started to cry not just from heartbreak but from rage, betrayal, and a profound sense of loss. How did I get here? How did I not see it coming? I trusted her with everything, and now she was just another cheater, another liar. The worst part, I wasn't even angry just at her. I was furious at myself for not seeing the signs sooner, for not protecting myself better. That day, everything changed. I started planning what I was going to do next, how I was going to get through this, and how I was going to make her pay for the pain she'd caused. It wasn't just about the cheating. It was about the fact that she lied, that she betrayed our relationship so effortlessly. I didn't want to be the fool anymore. I wanted justice, even if that meant hurting her back or walking away for good. I wasn't sure yet, but I knew I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. That betrayal had opened a door I wasn't ready to close, and I was about to step through it. After that explosive confrontation, I felt like I was walking around in a fog. Part of me wanted to scream, break things, make her feel as terrible as I did in that moment. But another part, the calmer, colder part, realized I needed a plan. She was the type to lie her way out of anything, so I had to be smarter. I started gathering evidence, not just to confront her again, but to make sure I'd be prepared for whatever she threw at me next. Over the next few days, I started noticing more things. Her phone was always close by, even when she was asleep. She became more defensive, more secretive, and the lies started piling up. I found little inconsistencies in her stories, how she suddenly remembered an appointment she never mentioned, or how certain alibis didn't quite add up. I wasn't snooping just for fun. I was piecing together a puzzle, and every new piece made my blood boil more. I also learned that she was constantly texting Jake, even after I'd caught her. Tell him she loved sex with him, that she wished she could be with him more, that she was tired of pretending. The thought of her with him in bed, sharing moments they'd lied about, made me sick. It was like she'd been living a double life, and I was just the fool who never saw the signs. I knew I had to do something, but I also felt helpless. How do you fight someone who's so good at lying? How do you beat someone who's so convincing when she's caught? I decided I had enough. I couldn't keep pretending to be okay, not after everything I'd seen. I scheduled a meeting with a lawyer, started talking about separation, and even looked into ways to get her out of the house. I wanted her gone, completely out of my life. But part of me still wondered if I should give her a chance to explain, to come clean, to maybe salvage what was left of the marriage. The truth was, I was torn between heartbreak and rage. I knew I couldn't trust her anymore, not after these revelations. She kept saying she loved me, but her actions proved otherwise. One night she came home late again, smelling of perfume I didn't recognize. She tried to brush past me, acting like nothing had happened. I blocked her path, looked her in the eye, and asked her point blank, "Are you still seeing him?" She scoffed and rolled her eyes, saying, "God, you're so obsessive." "No, I'm not. I told you we're just friends, you're imagining things." But I wasn't buying it anymore. Her tone, her attitude, everything about her screamed guilt. And I finally realized that her apologies, her excuses meant nothing. The damage was done, and I was done with her lies. That night I made a decision. I was going to confront her head-on and get her out of my life for good. I didn't want to be with someone who lied, cheated, and then dared to act like I was the problem. I deserved better. I deserved someone who didn't cheat on me with my best friend. Fuck, the betrayal cut so deep I wondered how I'd ever recover from it. But I knew that if I didn't act now, I'd be stuck in this hell forever. It was time to face the brutal truth, no matter how much it hurt. The night I decided to confront Sarah for good, I felt a strange mixture of nervousness and rage. I knew what I had to do, and I knew the truth was going to come out one way or another. I had gathered enough evidence, screenshots, her inconsistent stories, her late-night texts, and I was ready to lay everything on the table. I wanted her to see that I wasn't some idiot who could be manipulated or lied to anymore. This was it. She came home that evening acting as if nothing had changed, wearing that same bitchy smirk, acting like she'd won the game. I was done playing nice. I sat her down in the living room, stared her dead in the eyes, and said, "Sarah, I know everything. I saw the messages. I know about Jake, about the sex, about how you've been lying to me for months. Don't even bother denying it because I've got proof." Her face instantly twisted, that fake innocent look she always put on when she was trying to dodge blame. She looked furious, then resigned, then angry again. "You're crazy," she spat. "You're just jealous and insecure. You're always accusing me of stuff I didn't do." Her voice was high-pitched, defensive, the kind of tone someone uses when they're trying to convince themselves they're right. But I wasn't buying it. I pushed her phone across the table. "Look at this," I said grimly. "Look at your own messages. You're not just talking, you're in love with him, you're having sex with him. How long has this been going on? A year, more." Her eyes darted away, and for a moment she looked genuinely rattled. Then she snapped back, throwing her head up and rolling her eyes. "Oh, please, you're overreacting. It's just sex, that's all. I was lonely, I needed something. Jake was just..." "Just what?" I interrupted. "Just your backup plan, your little secret. Don't lie to me anymore, Sarah. I deserve honesty, and right now, you're just making yourself look worse." Her face flushed red, and you could see the anger boiling beneath her tough exterior. She started throwing out excuses, how she felt neglected, how she wasn't happy, how Jake made her feel special. But I was done listening. I saw her true colors that night, the bitchy, selfish side that thought she could get away with anything. I felt my hands trembling, my heart pounding hard enough to burst out of my chest. I wanted to break something, to scream, to shake her until she finally admitted everything. But instead, I stayed calm. I told her that I knew she was a liar, a cheater, and that I was ending it. I told her to pack her things, that I wanted her gone by the morning, that her games were over. She looked at me with that same smirk, but I could see the cracks now. Her mask was slipping. That night was one of the most brutal of my life. Dumping her stuff out of the closet, watching her pack her bags, feeling the emptiness inside. I realized I'd been so blind, so naive. How could I have missed all the signs? How could I have trusted her with everything, but no more? I was done being the fool. I was done being the sucker who believed in fairytale love. She had shown her true face, the bitchy, manipulative, lying side, and I wasn't going to let her ruin me anymore. I kept telling myself I'd be okay, that I'd survive this, but inside I was broken. I thought about the memories, the promises, the future we'd planned, and how she'd just thrown it all away for Jake. That thought kept echoing in my mind, loud and clear. I deserved better. The days that followed were a blur of pain, anger, and a strange sense of relief. The house was eerily silent without her there, like it had lost its soul. I threw myself into sorting through everything, her clothes, her stuff, trying to make sense of what had happened. Each little thing reminded me of how much I had trusted her, how she'd lied right in my face for months. I replayed the confrontations, the arguments, the nights I stayed awake wondering if I was going crazy. Now I knew the truth, and it felt like a huge weight had been lifted, even if the ache of betrayal still burned. Deep inside, I started to reach out to my friends, family, anyone I could trust. It was hard. I felt humiliated, angry, and betrayed, but also strangely stronger than I had in months. I knew I'd need to rebuild myself from the wreckage of what she'd done. It was tempting to drown it all in alcohol to forget, but I knew I had to face it head on. I had to accept that Sarah was a liar. She cheated, lied, manipulated, and then acted like the victim when I called her out. I had to be honest with myself about how much I'd been blind, how much I'd wanted to see the best in her when she'd shown me her worst. I also decided to cut all ties. No more calls, no more messages, no more trying to understand her twisted reasoning. I blocked her number, her social media, everything. I needed space to breathe, to heal. I wanted to forget her, but I also knew I shouldn't forget what she did, because that was the lesson I needed to carry forward. Trust is fragile, and I had learned that the hard way. I had been naive, yes, but it was also her fault. For lying so convincingly, for turning my love into something she could just toss aside for her own selfish needs. One thing I did do was confront Jake, though I knew it wouldn't bring him back or change anything about what she did. I found out he was just a guy who got caught up in her lies, just as much a victim as I was. But it didn't matter anymore. The damage was done. The only thing I cared about now was moving forward. I realized I had been living in a false sense of security, thinking she was the girl I'd met in college. But she was just a user, a liar, a manipulator. As I sit here writing this, I can honestly say I'm starting to feel a little better. Not completely, but enough to see that I'm stronger than her lies. I'm angry, yes, but also determined. I've learned that sometimes the people closest to you will betray you in ways you never expect. That trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to repair. And that revenge, in some twisted way, can be about reclaiming your dignity and taking control of your life again. So, if I could give any advice to anyone going through something like this, trust your gut. Don't ignore the signs, no matter how much you love someone. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one who truly cares about your happiness and well-being. And sometimes, walking away is the only way to save yourself from a world of pain caused by someone you once thought was your everything. Looking back now, I realize that this whole nightmare taught me more about myself than I ever cared to admit. I was naive, yes, but I also learned that I'm stronger than I thought. Betrayal cuts deep, and the pain of losing someone you loved so dearly is almost unbearable. But somehow, I managed to pull myself out of that dark place. It wasn't easy. There were nights I questioned whether I was ever going to trust again, whether I'd ever feel whole after this kind of betrayal. But time has a way of healing wounds, even if it leaves scars. What hurts the most is knowing I let someone manipulate my feelings for so long. I trusted her with everything, my future, my heart, my life. And she turned around and used that trust to hurt me. That realization stings like hell, but it also made me more cautious. I learned that love isn't enough if it's not mutual and honest. People can hide their true selves so well that you don't see the damage until it's too late. Now I see clearly, no more blind faith, no more ignoring the signs. I also learned that revenge isn't about getting even, at least not in the way most people think. For me, it was about reclaiming my dignity. It was about taking control of my life after someone tried to destroy it. I didn't want her to win by breaking me entirely. I wanted to stand tall and say, "You didn't get to ruin me." That's what drove me to cut her out completely, to start rebuilding myself piece by piece. I don't hate her anymore. I feel sorry for her, honestly. She's lost, and I'm just glad I'm not part of her game anymore. If there's one thing I want others to take from my story, it's this: never ignore your instincts. When something feels wrong, it probably is. And if you catch someone lying or cheating, don't ignore it. Confront it, face it, and don't accept anything less than honesty. Because once trust is broken, it's almost impossible to repair, and the damage it causes can destroy everything you've built. Now I'm focused on myself. I've started therapy, reconnected with friends, and taken up new hobbies. I'm trying to find happiness again, not the kind that depends on someone else, but the kind that comes from within. My heart is still bruised, no doubt, but it's healing. And I know someday I'll find love again, someone who truly deserves my trust and respect. Because I've learned the hard way that real love is based on honesty, loyalty, and respect. Things I thought I had with Sarah, but clearly I didn't. So yeah, that's my story. It's raw, it's real, and it's a reminder to anyone out there that no matter how much it hurts now, you can come out stronger on the other side. Trust yourself, trust your feelings, and never settle for less than the truth. Because in the end, that's all that really matters.